Just look at those mesmerizing eyes. Don't they just make you fall in love with the control devil? Makima was the bane of Denji's existence and the biggest manipulator in Chainsaw Man. That's right, she played my man Denji. And all of you who want to woof for her?
Congratulations.
Because she was the true winner of Chainsaw Man Part 1. You're probably wondering, ABD, she died. Denji killed her. How did she win? And you're right, except that Makima is the control devil and has the broken ability where she can never die. Huh? It is confirmed that she had been killed 26 times up until the attack of the gun devil. Yup. Denji's nightmare has reincarnated in the form of Nayuta, but she looks the opposite of the terrifying control devil Denji fought to death with. Dare I say, she looks innocent that she do no harm. Oh my god, I said it too soon! Well, it's clear that she may be adorable, but Nayuta is still the fearsome control devil. However, we have plenty of evidence that despite the namesake, Nayuta is drastically different from Makima. Makima was just one of many reincarnations of the control devil. So let's dive into the past to make sense of not only Nayuta's story, but also Pochita's. As the control devil, Makima completely ruined Denji's life with her master plan. The only way to break his contract with Pochita was to provide him with so much happiness that when he lost everything from his normalcy, he would be broken. She indirectly made him kill Power and Aki, the two most important people in his life who were his family. This made Denji lose his will to live, and thus the contract was broken. Makima wanted all this just so she could either control Chainsaw Man by defeating him or die trying in the process. She was just batshit crazy fan of the legendary devil. Makima had a contract with the Prime Minister of Japan that made it almost impossible to kill her. According to this contract, as long as Makima works for the government, any fatal damage that is done to her is spread out to a random Japanese citizen. Like, imagine it's you dying on the toilet whilst you're nutting, or worse, not dinging the notification bell for Anime Wars D. Yeah!
Shut up!
The Japanese government nurtured and taught Makima various things to mold her ideology. As with the control devil, they would be able to manipulate the world in their favor. Fujimoto highlights that humans brought upon their own demise with their selfish desires, as it's quite ironic that they tried to control the physical manifestation of their own fears. They had a role in creating Makima in this way. As we know, she could have been brought up differently, shown with her latest incarnation in the form of Nayuta. This explains how Makima was corrupted and believed everything was for the sake of peace, which is now paralleled with Nayuta's reincarnation, where Denji molds her outlook on the world. Now, the only way to kill Makima was to actually not to kill her at all. Instead, Denji turned her into food, devouring her with love. My man even says, so this is how you taste Makima. My man was having fun eating her. Oh wait, you guys would too.
You're goddamn right.
Well, that made me want to go vegan. But since Denji ate Makima in his human form instead of Chainsaw Man, the control devil was sent to hell and then reincarnated on Earth once again. This time, its new form was Nayuta, a toddler who had no memories of her past life. Well, except her natural fondness for all of Makima's dogs that Denji was walking. She was born in China, and Kishibe nicked her as soon as he found out about it to keep her away from the government. Denji recognized her bite as Makima's, but Kishibe had already deemed Denji to be Nayuta's guardian. That night, Denji dreams of Pochita, telling him about the control devil's dream. Makima always wanted to create an equal relationship based on genuine love and affection, but due to her nature as the control devil, she could only do so with fear and subordination. This is pretty evident in chapter 96, when Makima finally gets Denji's Pochita heart. She expresses her desire to eat and sleep a lot as well, living a happy life together. In fear of Nayuta turning out the same way as Makima if the government raised her, Kishibe and Pochita both wanted Denji to create a world full of love for her. And and thus began Denji's efforts to provide Nayuta with a normal life, proper food, and education, things that he never had in his own childhood. Did you know in Fujimoto's previous one-shot, Nayuta of the Prophecy has heavily inspired Nayuta and Denji in Chainsaw Man? In this one-shot, Nayuta is shown as a demonic child who has violent tendencies, and both of their character designs are quite similar. Despite Nayuta's unsettling nature, her brother Kenji vows to protect and provide for her through any means. However, Nayuta in the one-shot has horns on her head like the fiends in Chainsaw Man. So if you just learned something there, make sure to leave a like on the video, because it's clear Fujimoto's earlier work inspired their dynamic, except that Nayuta isn't shown as a cold killer like her ancestor just yet. Which brings us to how different Nayuta and Makima are, even though they both are the control devil. For example, they both adore their dogs, but Makima had them completely under control, which is why they obeyed every command from her just like she wanted Denji to. The thing is, Makima sees humans as no different to her dogs. She feels obligated to defend the general population because she is superior to us, created with a noble goal in mind, much like a divine being. This is especially clear in chapter 95, as she tells Chainsaw Man how to behave and compares Denji to dirt. All of her actions were actually pity for humans. Yes, she yearns for the Chainsaw Devil, but she wants to use him to get rid of all the evil in society, removing pain and suffering once and for all. Seeing all of these dangerous things destroying humanity over and over made her knowledge a burden. Her ideology shifted to make sure calamities never happen again, so humanity will never have to remember such evil things. On the other hand, in chapter 120, Nayuta's dogs riot all around her, and she has to fight them to eat her own food, telling us that she doesn't use her control powers on them and sees them as more than just objects to control. When Denji was having an existential crisis thinking, oh my god, I stink, I smell like wet dog, does also smell like wet dog? Nayuta responded by saying, but that's a good smell. As we know, Denji had been told that he stinks before, which had made him self-conscious, questioning if he smelled bad, and that's why no girls like him. However, Nayuta's reply made it clear that she views Denji as more than just a tool for control. Rather, she harbors great feelings of protectiveness for him. She even adopted Denji's mannerisms like his laugh. But in chapter 120, she instinctively sensed that Asa wasn't good news for him, and thus immediately turned her into a dog. This might seem controlling at first, since Nayuta even set down a rule for Denji to not be friendly with Asa anymore. But Nayuta claims every woman you meet tries to kill you, right? What makes you think this dog is any different? Therefore, we can deduce that Denji has opened up about the past to Nayuta, informing her of everything, giving reason to Denji's claim that she's very smart. Rather than trusting dumb Denji to protect himself, Nayuta took matters into her own hands and negotiated rationality. However, through this incident, it's also clear that Nayuta actually looks up to Denji. As someone who is raising her, he cooks for her, and she even asks for permission from him to eat ice cream every day, telling us that she can't use her powers on him yet. This is because the control devil's power of subjugation only works if the devil believes the other person is inferior to it. For example, Makima considered all humans, including Denji, as pathetic dogs, and hence she could control them as she wanted. But even then, she couldn't use her power on Kishibe, hinting that she actually didn't see him as an inferior to herself. The same case is with Denji and Nayuta, as Nayuta sees him as her guardian. Denji's character growth with Nayuta is also quite evident. Even when she claims that Denji is her property in chapter 120, he stands up for himself and says he is his own. This is opposite to how Denji was obedient to the point of pity with Makima. He didn't know or understand boundaries with her, and barked for her, opened the door for power to die, and even gave up control of his entire life to her. But with Nayuta, Denji has a sense of self and chooses what he can sacrifice for providing Nayuta with a normal life. To him, Nayuta comes first, not out of compulsion, but out of choice, unlike Makima. Which is ironic because Makima didn't even see him the whole time, but only identified Pochita inside him through his smell. The sense of smell made a comeback in Nayuta's case as well. While she couldn't pinpoint what exactly she felt off about Asa, her gut feeling to keep Denji away by smelling one of the four horsemen is correct. This is a juxtaposition to Makima, as she used the powers to abuse Denji, whilst Nayuta relies on her powers to protect and care for him. Another great Easter egg is Nayuta's caring nature is reflected in these plants. Whilst at first glance it seems that Nayuta's plant is dead because she doesn't care for it like Denji does, it's actually the opposite. These plants are aloe vera, and overwatering can cause them to wilt, which is what Nayuta has done. She clearly cares about people and things around her, whilst Makima saw everyone and everything as a tool for her ideological belief to gain peace through tyranny. Another fun fact, Makima's character is based on documentaries about abusive parents, which is why her actions seem so cruel and real. She was willing to gaslight Denji as a survivor of abuse just so she could have what she loved, but this lack of empathy itself turned around to be her fatal flaw. So the question is, how do you teach a devil empathy and human-like emotions? Well, treat them as such and instill an ideology that believes in righteous and loving ideals. Nayuta is living a simple life of a toddler, as her biggest goal is for Denji to let her eat ice cream every day. Such nuances show us that her demanding nature isn't quite as sinister as you may think. Even her rule against Asa came after ice cream. In fact, Nayuta is just paralleling Denji in her development. In chapter 97, both were content with sliced bread, only to become more demanding as time went on, which highlights how Denji is trying his best as his traits are being instilled in her, much like how a baby would copy everything their parents are doing. And since Denji developed through Power's personality, for instance, ever so slightly, Nayuta is bratty just like her, showing us that he's creating a relationship based on love for her. It goes to show that whilst the basic nature of a devil cannot be altered, their outside stimuli and upbringing heavily impacts their behavior, at least for humanoid devils. Moreover, Pochita is the biggest example of how devils are actually more human than people like Aki believe. Contrary to Makima's perception of Chainsaw Man being brutal, he developed human emotions like empathy and love for Denji, as well as understanding Makima's own desire to attain love and affection through him. So far, Nayuta's grown into an older child, implying that devils grow at a much faster rate. But it remains to be seen if she will actually turn out to be as feral as Makima. The trigger might be discovering that Asa and Yoru are actually the war devil who want to kill Chainsaw Man, given how Nayuta's loyalties lie with Denji seeing him as her property. If Nayuta finds out that Yoru's been trying to create Denji into a spinal cord weapon, well, good luck to you, Yoru. In a nutshell, we can see that Makima truly was the real winner of Chainsaw Man Part 1, because whilst Denji lost everything, Makima became one with Chainsaw Man and achieved their dream of being devoured by him, whilst also getting reincarnated to receive the genuine love and affection that she had always craved for. Now, to learn more peak fiction, don't forget to watch our video on how Makima, the most sinister devil, tricked everyone in Chainsaw Man Part 1.